Hey, what is up, everyone? B. Maraka here, back with another gruesome episode of the Book Rant. Boy, oh boy, there is some comic book drama going on in the comic book world this past week between two huge creators, Eric July and Ethan Van Schleiver. I'm just going to call him EVS. But before that, smash that subscribe button and share with your friends if you hate them that much. We talk about books and book reviews, and we also like to talk about current events going on in the book world. And it's not just novels, it's also, manga and comics and webtoons. I did a Get Schooled webtoon video a long time ago, and it did pretty well. So let's talk about this because EVS and Eric July, man oh man, these two comic gates gods have been fighting like Thanos and Tony Stark. It is almost horrendous. And to be honest, from a spectator's point of view, it's more embarrassing on EVS's part. I think Eric July has handled the whole situation um, with maturity and calmness, as opposed to times when people have been critical of his comic book isom. So let's get into these people first. Ethan, EVS, he's a huge comic book artist. He's worked for the big two, Marvel and DC. He's done his own stuff. He's drawn super huge characters like the Green Lantern and the X-Men. So this guy is famous in the comic book world. He's worked with professionals. He is a professional. He's very hardworking. He's a huge proponent of comicsgate. He hates that Marvel and DC and a lot of others have gone into the so-called woke side of the media, incorporating so many LGBT and minority characters into their stories and storylines that follow that. Like they had Superboy have a boyfriend a couple years ago. That met a lot of controversy, and they were like, oh my gosh, are they just trying to appeal to an LGBT audience? Me personally, I think it's cool when TV shows, movies, and comics and books in general that they explore these areas because no, we're all people, we're all different, we all deserve to be put in the spotlight. What matters, though, and which I'll agree with Ethan and Eric on, is that the story needs to be good. So when Eric and Ethan say at their times, "Hey, we need we need these stories to be good. They can't just be about romance or whatever. If people want a superhero story, they gotta get a superhero story." And that's so what happened. The controversy at set started with another creator on Twitter called Yellow Flash. He has an artist named Mr. Dillard drawing a book for him, and Mr. Dillard is not being paid a page rate. No, he is not being paid a page rate. He's not getting like $100 for every page he draws, which is the traditional route, the route that I would usually go down. He is getting a 40% ownership of the book, which means after he's done drawing this book, after they publish it, he gets 40% of all the royalties and sales. Now, as Eric July points out, Eric July is on the big side favoring this. He thinks these two guys made a deal. They are both sticking by that deal. They're both honoring it. And everyone is just being a big baby thinking Dillard is getting screwed over when it's really not that true. Yellow Flash and Dillard have both come out and said they're both okay with their things. This is mostly drama that's been made by the comic book community in general. Eric points out that this could be good for Dillard. He made this deal. He's taking a risk, but if this book sells really well, it gets into merchandise and movie deals and everything. He can make a lot of money rather than just being paid a page rate. EVS, who is a huge professional in the industry, don't forget, he's worked for big companies like Marvel and DC, who have actually sold millions of books and adapted into millions, even billion-dollar movies. He's saying Dillard is getting screwed over, that the fact that Yellow Flash did not pay a page rate, even though Yellow Flash is on record saying he wanted to help Dillard with his financial problems, it was just separate out of the deal. EVS making him look bad. And, Eric July was calling him out. Ethan was calling Eric July out. It didn't even become about the Yellow Flash Dillard controversy anymore, which is where it started. These two guys, Eric July and EVS, just started taking down each other. They were tearing each other apart on Twitter, and like I said, for EVS, it has gotten embarrassing. It has gotten embarrassing. This guy will not stop taunting Eric. He keeps tagging him in posts. He keeps saying different things. Eric, meanwhile, he said his stuff. He stood up for himself. And I think he handled things very maturely. I've criticized Eric in the past personally, like when he's called people freaks and weirdos on his show. But, well, Ethan has spent hours of stream time and thousands of words in his tweet and other social medias bashing Eric. Eric just basically said a few things on Twitter, answered some people, and made a 5-minute video explaining his piece, and there's that. You see Eric's social media now? He's back to business promoting ISOM and other people's books, other matters of his company. EVS is not letting this go, though. It's like he has to be right, and that is becoming very annoying to a lot of people, even some of his own supporters, as you could see on YouTube and even his Twitter account. He's had people tell him to stop, and man, he's not stopping. If anything, he hits back even harder. So this has been a dramatic week. People arguing about things that don't even that doesn't even have to do with them. So it was just something to report about. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know below. Are you for Team Eric? Are you Team EVS? What are your thoughts? Are you dislike of them both? Whatever. Going to be getting into another book review later this week. Until then, have a God-blessed week, guys. Peace out.